What's going on, fellow fishing fanatics? I'm Michigan Troller, and I figured I'd show you guys my setup. I didn't make it out this year to get some trolling videos for salmon like I normally do out on Lake Michigan going, but I figured I can show you my setup of my boat before I switch over to ice fishing and getting everything ready for that. I have a 16.5 foot Alumacraft that has a 90 horse on it. I made some mounts for my track systems. I'm a tool and die maker, so at work I went through and made all these mounts as well as the top part for it. I know Alumacraft or Traxstech, there's a few different brands that make their own clamps, and I didn't really care for how they were made, so I actually went and got my calipers and brought them home and took measurements of my rail and sketched everything all out and went to work and made my own mounts for it, so those clip onto there. That was one of my first ones I did. I didn't like that, and I went to this style here, so I can put the top part of this on here and have that bolted in as well, so there's no way that these will ever move or come off there. I got it doweled, as well as did a screw through here and have a piece underneath there for it to lock all in. Did the back tracks for all my trolling gear. Have my mount up here for my trolling motor, and then my rod holder, 8-pack rod holder mount. It's a ram mount, just the regular small one with a aluminum piece that I made off of just some flat stock around. Keep my cooler up front for when we're catching salmon or any big fish that we're keeping, and also a pee bucket. You always have to have that when you're 5-10 miles offshore in a little boat like this. You need somewhere to go. This is where I keep all my extra rods. When, depending where we're going out, how many people I have with me, I'll switch out rods. Kind of get, depending on depth, what time of year. Obviously early in the spring I don't need to bring this many rods because they're generally in shallower, so I can run high lines and 3-color, 5-color lead cores and do pretty good with that with my downriggers as well as my divers. Later in the season I get out and want as many rods as possible because you never know where they're going to be at in the column. Sometimes they're high early in the morning. If you're going after steelhead or early morning, they're generally up high, so you want those rods. But then during the day they'll go out deeper and you gotta fish a little bit deeper for them. So I have 300 coppers, 150 copper, got 2 of those. That way I generally will run on one side my coppers and then one lead core, and then on the other side I'll run the rest lead core. I'll hop up in there and kind of show. So generally I'll have, depending on what side, I'll have my lead cores on the one side. I have my 10, 5, and 3. Run those all with your planer boards, get them out away from your boat. I have all these. If they're higher in the column, I'll have my high lines and just run snap weights off of them, depending on where they're at in the water column. But I'll get, when I'm driving out, I'll have them like this, and then when I'm getting ready to troll, I'll turn them out and then start setting all my lines up. I have my planer boards. I generally run all off my Rodtrees, and then I'll have my diver either in this one or this one, and then my downrigger. I have the Hawk X4D, which is one of the most important things to trolling if you're trolling out on the big lake or anything with different currents and tides. It messes with what way you're going, how fast your balls are. It can do a lot of stuff. So the fish hawk is definitely a huge plus to have out there. That way you know where you're at in the water column with the temperature. You always want to fish that break for salmon. Find that thermocline and kind of fish them there generally. But that gives, I have the X4D, so it gives the up here it gives the temperature as well as the depth and speed all at the probe. Generally the other fish hawks don't have that. It's not necessarily needed, but I do like it. With the Livescope I have, you can actually see the downrigger and the ball. Big old bullet ball that goes on the end of that. You can see that all with the Livescope. You can see the downrigger ball, your bait, your if you're trolling a big old flasher fly, you can see all that spinning down there on the Garmin Livescope. I have the Humminbird Helix 9 that is paired up with my Terrova, which is real nice. Being able to go out there and set all your troll lines off that if you want to fish certain breaks. I have the remote that you can use as well, but since it pairs up with the Humminbird and you can fish certain breaks, if you want to fish 150 foot of water and troll parallel to that line and keep going the whole way, it'll do it. It's pretty nice. With trolling the big lake, the trolling motor is the biggest help for you out there. It is a night and day difference between fishability and how well you can just sit back and enjoy the fishing once you get that going. It is a huge help. I wouldn't go out there without a trolling motor that can do autopilot. It's a huge help. So what do we got? We got our electronics. We pretty much nailed our rod setup. All we have up there is switch them out. I'll do like I was saying, run one side all coppers, run the other side lead core, see how the fish are doing. If they're biting on a certain one, I'll then switch over different. If they're biting on the coppers, they're in that range, or if they just like it that day for how it's going, I'll switch those out with the ones up front to them and pretty much go from there. I can run 12 rods. It gets a little bit dicey. I've had tangles and it gets costly, but I can do it. It's for my boat, 8 is pretty good and doable, but I can do 10 no problem. I try to stay away from 12. It can be done, but if you're out there in big currents and everything, you're gonna have a lot of tangles if you don't know what you're doing. On this small boat, it can get kind of messy. So I definitely say if you're on a small boat and working up, start with fewer rods, work up to the more rods, depending on how your spread is and everything, how comfortable you're feeling. But yeah, it's kind of my 2 cents. I bring out all my pretty much everything you see back here. I keep all on the boat. I have it stored up inside all these different compartments and everything. Depending on flasher flies, what we have going that day, all the dipsies and my snubbers. These are ones I have tied up ready to go that I'm generally using and will switch out during the day depending on what colors. Fall time, generally running plugs. This is generally my go-to box starting off, kind of the hotter ones that are being bid on, glows and UVs in there. I have, those are snap weights for high lines. I have this box that I can change out if they're biting greens or blues, yellows, oranges. Change all out with those. Another box with some more divers, depending on if they're deep. These ones will dive down a lot deeper than what these ones here will, so just get down faster. I think that should be about it. I'm switching over to cold water reels. I like these. I got 4 of them, two divers and 2 downriggers, and I absolutely love the retrieval, the drag, everything on those guys. They're really nice. So I'm gonna slowly start switching all the reels over to them and get these ones up here switched over to cold waters, and then I might just re-string them ones up for walleye. That way I have a little bit lighter rods for them. I've been gearing towards salmon for the last few years, getting this all set up because I live in Michigan, just an hour or so away from the Lake Michigan, and I'm about 2.5 hours from Saginaw Bay. So I wanted to get my stuff for salmon trolling first because I'm a lot closer. I'm pretty much set up there, so now I can start gearing towards walleye and get that ready to go so I can get some more videos of that. I'd love all sorts of fishing. Trolling is one of the kinds I like the most. But I do it all: walleye, bluegill, steelhead in the river, whatever pretty much will bite. I'm starting to look towards ice fishing. That's why I wanted to get a video of this, because obviously my name's Michigan Troller and I didn't want my first video to be ice fishing for you guys. I figured you'd want to see the troll and be like, huh, that's kind of odd. But I have a quad that I've been working on and decking out for ultimate ice fishing setup for that. So I'm near and done with all my mods I have for that. It's going to be pretty sweet. I'll hopefully do a video for that one before ice season hits, but I'm looking forward to ice. Hopefully we get some this year. If you liked the video, hit subscribe. I'd appreciate it. This is my first one I'm doing, seeing how it goes. Hopefully I'll get better as the time progresses. Throw a thumbs up if you want to leave a comment on how I did or how I could do things better. I'd always appreciate it. Till next time, have a good one.